Hi everybody, thank you for your interest in the No Time to Waste toolkits. I'm Alastair.
I'm Pauline.
And we both work for In Control Scotland.
So the No Time to Waste toolkits are 3 separate documents. They all serve the same purpose, but they're in slightly different formats for different audiences. So the first one is the Professionals edition. So this was co-produced by a group of professionals working in quite a wide range of different backgrounds, but all with experience either in bringing people home from hospital or stopping them going in the first instance. The Lived and Loved edition was co-produced by family members of people who've been in hospital, or adults themselves with autism or learning disabilities who've got experience of institutionalisation. And that's specifically for family members or for people themselves to help them plan for what the future might look like. And then the third version is the easy read version, which is the equivalent of all of those things combined in a much simpler format for folk who might need that.
So what we're trying to achieve, we made a list of a range of key factors that we believe create this progress together. So that's a combination of values, trust, action and rights, and a range of other related topics, which we work through systematically as we go through the toolkits to allow us to analyse in great detail, not just what we're doing, but how and why we're doing it. So we've recognised everybody's really, really busy, and that we're saying that to start doing what works, we need permission to stop doing what doesn't work. So this is not something we're asking people to do on top of what they're already doing. This is a way to reorganise and refocus to create a far better process. And we will show you how to respond and understand differently to create much more positive outcomes together.
So yeah, like Alastair said, the toolkits are basically a practical step-by-step guide, hopefully to help replace those existing responses that might be making things difficult or making things get stuck more often than not, with some more helpful or effective ones. So there are some things that we hope that people using the toolkit will become more confident in putting into place. So that's making sure that there's a safe space for these kind of conversations, that there's an ability to reflect and reflect meaningfully as well. So reflect with a bit of analysis and think about what needs to change as a result of the reflection. They should provide a space to generate ideas, to think about trying new things or maybe revisiting things that have worked in the past, but ultimately to build confidence in everybody. So not just building confidence in practitioners, but building confidence in families as well to work in hopefully towards a different future.
Okay, so what's this going to look like? We're going to take you through the process. Like we said, the toolkits are quite practical. They're not just about what needs to change, but it takes you step by step through how you go about that. So our first session is an online session about what's working and not working. Then we're going to also be doing work in 2 in-depth sites where we look in a much more detailed way about the specific issues that people are facing. We're going to have one-to-one follow-up session with leaders to explore what practitioners have said in terms of what they're facing and how we think we can deal with it, and make sure that we can smooth over some of those next steps so to make some of this really achievable. Sessions 2, 3, and 4 follow a similar format, exploring areas for improvement and quick wins, sticky issues, and what it would take to move forward. And we'll gradually work through all of these topics in a way that allows for continuous improvement so that you can actually see, as you're going on, it becoming easier to make the right decisions, frame things in the correct way, and make real progress at a pace that is achievable.
So some of what we would hope would change or people would get out of working through the toolkits would be some of these things on this diagram here. So ultimately what we want is things to be practical, to be balanced, and to be inclusive. And some of those things might be, how do we measure success and how do we do that ethically and logically instead of expecting people to fit into rules or expectations of others? How do we build those together to make it logical and ethical? We want to make sure that risks might be caused by the environment or through inaction aren't ignored. They're appreciated and understood and analysed, and opportunities are taken out to test out positive ideas or to take risks, because sometimes the greatest risk is of not doing something differently. And we need to make sure that we're supporting confidence in that. We hope there will be a willingness to change direction based on what works for the person. Again, not what works best for the service or for the system that the person is operating within. And the final thing we would hope to come out of it would be a balanced view of what good looks like. And that's in line with the law and guidance, as well as through deep-rooted person-centred approaches.
So this slide just gives a little bit of detail from the Lived and Loved toolkit and indicates that we are trying to get everybody to change. Everybody needs to have different types of conversations to think about both how they analyse things, how they raise things, and how we create a space where everybody feels safe and engaged in what's possible, even when that can seem almost impossible to achieve. If we have that sense of confidence to ask what if and how do we explore this, then we can get a much better, much more meaningful discussion, and things that previously didn't seem possible can be much more on the table. So we're asking people to consider all of these points that are here on the screen and move forward in a way that helps everybody have greater confidence.
Yeah, and what we all are really keen to understand through this work, this is a brand new approach, and we're hoping that you'll help us understand how it works, because what we want to make clear is that there's a lot of change that needs to happen within this, and it's not just with the individual, it's not just with the family, it's not with practitioners. It runs right the way through from personal, what difference does it make to the person, what difference does this make to the organisation, and how do we share that learning and build on what works so that we can embed it in with the bricks as a way of working in a person-centred, reflective, relational way, and hoping that all of that will lead to change that might look like more inclusion, greater collaboration, greater consistency, and ultimately positive results, and having people living in their own homes and their communities supported well to live good lives.
Okay, so if you've heard this and you want to take part, we have the toolkits available to download from the New Roots Home website, and we can email you them or send out paper copies if you'd rather. This work is funded by the Scottish Government, so there's no cost for you to take part in this for the next 6 months. So initially, if you want to email info@incontrolscotland.org.uk and say you want to take part and pass on your details, we will work out who gets involved and how you will share the learning locally. So this is a real opportunity to get that in detail walk through and exploring the issues together. So we look forward to hearing from you and getting involved. Thank you.
Thank you.